Hello and welcome to Friday's Targets in Focus. Today I'll be looking at three Asian currency pairs with Thomas Harr, Head of Local Asian Market Strategy in Singapore. So Thomas, let's begin with the Indian rupee. This currency increased for a third session on Thursday. This was its sixth rise in 7 days. Today the Indian government won a second vote for retail, enabling the Prime Minister to pave the way for more reforms, including freeing up a cash-strapped insurance sector. Thomas, are you feeling bullish about the rupee, or do you have some concerns for this currency?
On the very short term, we don't expect the Indian rupee to strengthen much from here. We think the key concern for the rupee is that the growth in India is still very weak. Inflation is still very high, and the central bank doesn't have room to ease monetary policy. So all that is a concern for the currency. Obviously, the reforms are positive in terms of the overall sentiments towards the currency, but we think at the moment that the key thing which will dominate is that the economic outlook is still quite weak. So on the short term, we're looking for dollar INR to grind higher into next year, reaching something like 55 at the end of Q2. Over the more medium term, we do expect INR to strengthen. So our in 2013 forecast is 53. That is very much based on that the economy will gradually improve over the course of next year when the central bank has a room to cut interest rate.
Now looking at China, leaders are expected to meet in mid-December for the annual Central Economic Work Conference, which is a closely watched event for investors looking for some clues on policy priorities for the year ahead. We also have some Chinese data out next week. Now, how is the renminbi trading right now, and how do you see it trading at the beginning of 2013?
I think for the very short term, it's going to be stable against the dollar. The CNY has strengthened somewhat over the last couple of months. It does appear to have been driven by Chinese policymakers being somewhat more comfortable about the Chinese economy. That being said, I think they feel that it has come a little bit too fast. And that's the reasons why we think dollar CNY will be very stable into year-end and beginning of next year. In terms of the more medium-term outlook for 2013, we are seeing some appreciation, but much more modest appreciation than we were used to a couple of years back. So we're looking for 2 to 3% appreciation in the CNY against the US dollar in 2013.
Now, Thomas, let's have a look at the US dollar against the Singapore dollar. How is this pair performing, and what should traders keep an eye out for that may shake this pair?
I think at the moment for the Singapore dollar, it's trading quite close to our estimates of the strong end of the Sing-Nia policy band, and that means that it has quite limited room to appreciate on the very short term. In terms of local economic data, there's not that much to focus on. I think it's going to be much more based on what is happening globally. But as I said, the key thing for the currency is that it has quite limited room on the very short term to appreciate because we are trading quite close to, at least according to our estimates, quite close to what we call the strong end of the policy band in terms of how they manage the currency here in Singapore. So we're looking for a relatively choppy range trading in the first half of next year. 121 is our in Q1 forecast, so very modest appreciation from the current level around 122. In terms of the whole of 2013, our end-year forecast is 118. So some appreciation, around 3% appreciation here, partly based on that Asian currencies as a whole will see some appreciation against the US dollar, and Singapore is still allowing some appreciation over the medium term and is likely to continue to do that in 2013.
And finally, Thomas, Asian currency slipped on Thursday after disappointing Spanish bond auction the previous day, which helped drag the euro off a 7-week high, giving a lift to the dollar. Now, how do you see Asian currencies in general performing next year, and what will be your favourite Asian currency for 2013?
Right. I think we very much see Asian currencies divided into two halves next year. In the first half, there will be some concerns about the fiscal cliff in the U.S. and how much the U.S. economy is going to slow. That will have some knock-on impact on Asia. The more important theme over the medium term is that China seems to be recovering, and that is all constructive for Asia. So all we will see appreciation in Asian currencies next year. The better performers will be the likes of the Korean won, which we think is still fundamentally cheap. Korea will see better growth driven by better exports, for example, into China next year. And we still see a lot of inflows into the Korean bond market. So all that is one of the best currencies performers next year in Asia.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for sharing your expertise with us today. And thank you for watching Dukascopy TV. Now, don't forget to have a look at the weekly wrap-up with Natalie MacDonald to see what economic events moved and shaped the markets this week. Have a nice weekend.